Hey everyone, welcome to Jason Explains Things. My focus on YouTube is primarily off-road capable trucks, which is awesome, but lately I have been missing the classic vehicles that I used to make videos about all the time, especially my family's Volkswagen Super Beetle and this beast, the 1987 Dodge Ram D150. So in this video, I'm gonna reintroduce you all to this truck, highlight all the improvements and videos I've done over the past 6 years, and let you all in on what I want to do with it in the future, which includes some big ideas that I need your input on down in the comments. Special thanks to my channel sponsor, Havoline Motor Oil, for making this video possible.
And now I'm a grown man and I dream of the road, of faraway places and the wheels to go. With my Dodge on the highway, I race with the wind, behind the wheel of a dream.
Let's start with a history lesson. So in 1981, Dodge started using the Ram name for their light duty trucks. My truck is an 87, which makes it a first gen Dodge Ram. But first-gen Rams are actually the third generation of the Dodge D and W series pickups. The third generation started all the way back in 1972 and went all the way to 1993, ending with the release of the second-gen Ram. That's why so much of my 1987 truck's design goes all the way back actually to 1972, which is why I think it looks as timeless and classic as it does. The D-Series trucks, like mine, are two-wheel drive with independent front suspension, and the W-Series trucks are four-wheel drive and have straight axles front and rear. First-gen Rams came with a variety of different engine options, including the 225 cubic inch or 3.7 liter slant six, which is very, very slow, the 318 cubic inch or 5.2 liter LA V8, the 360 cubic inch or 5.9 liter LA V8. In 1989, if you're lucky enough to have one of these, you have the 5.9 Cummins straight six diesel. If you have that, you hold on to that truck and never let it go. That is the most legendary engine, and that usually makes your truck like double the value of mine. But I still love mine, so it's fine. By the way, if you guys want content about the first-gen Ram with a Cummins diesel, you need to check out Decent Garage. He has a variety of those trucks, and he does crazy modifications to them and building trucks up from scratch. He's super awesome. Go give him a subscription right now. During this era, Dodge lagged way behind General Motors and Ford in sales, but a lot of truck nerds, like myself, would say that these first-gen Rams are excellent and way more durable and long-lasting than popular trucks of the era. Especially Ford. Oh, weird. What was that? If you want proof of that fact, my truck has spent much of its life outside, and if you look underneath it, you would be hard-pressed to find much surface rust, if any at all. So let's talk about specs for my truck specifically. It has 128,000 miles and counting, and it does look fantastic, I gotta say, but I would call this a survivor. It's never been fully restored, never been repainted or anything like that. Obviously, single cab, and a real man's 8-foot bed. This truck is amazing at hauling lumber specifically. It actually has a really cool party trick where if you're gonna go to Lowe's, specifically Lowe's, I don't know about Home Depot, can't confirm Home Depot, but I can confirm for Lowe's, their big lumber carts are the exact same height as the rear tailgate of my truck. So when I buy plywood, I literally slide it from the cart into the bed and then just close the tailgate. Super easy, and I don't throw out my crappy back. Like I said earlier, the D in the name means this is a two-wheel drive truck, rear-wheel drive. It has a 9 1/4 Chrysler rear end with an open differential. We have a gloriously wonderful 4-speed manual transmission. But it's actually kind of more like a 3-speed because the first gear is a granny gear. So when you're just driving around town, you start in second. You hardly ever, frankly, use first. My truck has drum brakes in the rear and discs in the front, but no ABS. I think there are some newer trucks than mine that had ABS in the rear only, but my truck does not have that. Okay, we got some more cool nerdy specs for you. This truck, by now standards, is actually pretty light at only 4,000 pounds, and the gross vehicle weight rating is 6,050 pounds. So I'm not sure if the leaf springs would hold this, especially because they're original, but we've got a pretty useful payload of 2,000 pounds for this truck. It's meant to haul stuff. Now my truck, as it sits right now, is not really set up to tow. It can tow 2,000 pounds, at least according to the owner's manual. It does have a bumper mounted ball for trailers, and it does have trailer wiring, but it doesn't have any kind of hitch receiver, and it doesn't have a trailer brake controller. So it's not really a tow vehicle. Now this truck is very, very basic. When the original owner ordered it, he must have not checked very many boxes, but he did check one box, and he checked the most important one. This has the best engine option at that time, the 360 cubic inch, 5.9 liter LA V8, pumping out a whopping 170 horsepower. That doesn't sound very good, but hey, we have 305 pound-feet of torque. My truck is nice and old school, coming with a 4-barrel carburetor like the good old days. I missed fuel injection by 1 year. The 88s introduced that. I don't have that. I don't want it anyway. I actually kind of do. But as you can see here, beautiful open engine bay. I mean, it's so easy to work on things, check things, swap certain parts out. When I purchased this truck, it came with some of the original documents, so we actually get to know a lot about the first owner of the truck, especially, and I'll show close-ups, all the stuff other than private stuff that I probably shouldn't show because that would be rude of me. But we got the 1987 warranty information. So the first owner of this truck's name is Eugene Nelson. He purchased the truck on May 15th, 1987 at University Auto in Ellensburg, Washington, which is a dealership that is still there, which is really, really cool. I think maybe we should do a video where we take the old Dodge to the dealership. That'd be really, really awesome. The original owner's manual, which this is even cooler than that though, because Eugene was awesome enough to leave some notes for us, like when he did U-joints, when he did plugs and wires at 85,000 miles. I just love stuff like this, it's so cool. We have a pamphlet of awesome stuff that I want. We've got different radios you can get. We've got things like cruise control, who wants that? Oh, apparently, my Ram emblem is an accessory, so that's cool. So that's something that got added. Let's talk about a couple things that the first owner must have done sometime early in the truck's life. First off, we got these big mud flaps on this truck. When I first took ownership, I'm actually like, oh, those are ratty, I'm gonna take them off, but they grew on me pretty quick and they're gonna stay because even though they're like probably originally white and they're now kind of off-white, they're awesome and they're not going anywhere. On the back tailgate, we have this diamond plated metal cover. If you take that off, and I've taken it off one time, somebody asked me in a YouTube comment a couple years ago where that came from. I have no idea. It probably got put on this truck when I was like 6 years old, so no idea. Good luck finding one. Last thing about the original owner is that at some point, he must have dented the truck back in the passenger side there because you can see some failing bodywork, some cracking Bondo. You know, at some point, maybe I will repair that, make it look better, but again, it's like the imperfections of this truck are kind of part of its story. So we'll see if I fix it, I don't know. So after the first owner, we go to the second owner, which is actually a great friend of mine named Tucker Kellogg. He purchased this truck from the original owner shortly after his passing, apparently, in 2014. Right when he bought this truck, as soon as I saw it, I said, Tucker, if you ever sell that truck, you have to call me first and offer it to me first. And then now the story comes to me. So I am the third owner. In 2017, Tucker calls me, says, yeah, man, I'm kind of looking to get a 4-wheel drive truck, so would you be interested in the Dodge? I said, yes. We haggled for a little bit and we agreed on $1,800 cash, which sounds really, really low, especially now, but at the time, it did need quite a bit of work. It needed new tires, it needed new brakes, it needed new shocks, and it needed a couple other things as well that were kind of like immediately like driving issues with it. So I met Tucker, I took ownership of it. It was in November of 2017, shortly before I started making YouTube videos. As soon as I bought the truck, I put new tires on it. After getting those tires, I promptly drove from the east side of the state over kind of where actually I live now, back to the west side of the state where I used to live, over a mountain pass, and I got myself right into a blizzard. So we had new tires, I bought tire chains, and I bought sandbags at Walmart on my way out of town. So I was able to make it over the mountain pass, but it was kind of like bumper cars or like bowling with the rails on the side, so you can't have a gutter ball, because there are a few times where I started to like slide off the road, but there was a bunch of snow packed against the concrete barrier, so it would like burn. I just kept going and I didn't die, and the truck stayed the way it looks, so that was good. All right, I've been talking. That makes me tired, so I'm gonna sit. All right, let's talk about the projects I have done so far on this truck in the past nearly 6 years. Holy crap, time flies when you're having fun. Work began pretty much immediately on this truck. As soon as I got it, I started wanting to do things to it. I remember like getting, it was missing a hubcap that I got. I think we did a new muffler because there was an exhaust leak, and I had a shop do some carburetor work. But everything else has a video about on my channel, all in the old Dodge playlist. The first video that we did way back in the day was front and rear shocks. Those were KYB gas adjust shocks. And as soon as I did that project, it's just like, oh man, this truck is really, really easy to work on. And that just kind of sprang me forward to just want to just keep doing stuff. In the second video and project, we did brakes and wheel bearings on the truck, front and rear. Did new rotors, new brake pads, new brake shoes in the rear with new drum brake hardware and wheel cylinders. I'm gonna level with you guys though. If I could get a do-over or a mulligan on my channel for a video, it would be that one, because I didn't really know what I was doing, learning while filming, which is pretty much most of my projects, but with that one, I didn't have kind of the fundamentals down yet, so I'm sorry about that. I've heard that in comments many times, like, this video sucks. Like, well, I'm sorry about that. That video is not my best. I replaced the radiator twice, first with just a cheap one from a local auto parts store, and then the second time was with a aluminum performance radiator. What else we got? We got dash bulbs were replaced with LEDs. We did a really nice hood insulation kit from LMC Truck, which is actually a licensed part, so it says Dodge on it, and it's really, really cool. We replaced this taillight with a new old stock part, so it's still an original taillight. This was a huge Craigslist win. We replaced the seat, the bench seat, with this really, really nice one from, I think, a higher trim level Ram of the same era, but the first one had a bunch of rips in it and duct tape. That one does not. It looks pretty darn nice. I fixed a broken turn signal switch, and like I said earlier, we fixed the latch on this tailgate. Now, let's talk about one of the big videos that I'm really proud of on this truck, which was the full front suspension rebuild. A little bit of behind the scenes on that project, it actually took me over a month to complete. Like the brake job, I bit off more than I could chew. I didn't know what I was doing, but there was no taking it to a shop this time. I stubbornly was able to do all the work myself. We did new upper control arms, new lower control arm bushings, new springs, new tie rod ends, a new center link, a new pitman arm, and new ball joints. That transformed how this truck drives, and it still drives awesome 3 years later. Now, like the front suspension project, the other project that I'm incredibly proud of on this channel that you can go back and watch is fixing all of the oil leaks. We did a new rear main seal, we did a new oil pan gasket, and a new oil pump. To this day, there are no leaks. It does seep oil and fluids in other places, primarily the transmission, but my repairs have held. There are a couple of old videos on my channel about trying to add cool radios to the truck. When I bought the truck originally, it came with a broken aftermarket tape deck. And then after that, I bought an OEM radio off of eBay that worked pretty well for several years, but eventually the tape deck died. So after that, I bought another OEM radio off of eBay, but that eBay seller claimed to have retrofitted Bluetooth into it. Spoilers for that video, it didn't work. So now if you look in the cab, I kind of gave up on trying to go old school. It works great, but it definitely doesn't look the part. So maybe someday I'll replace it, but for now it's fine. Other stuff I did, I replaced the U-joints and swapped the original diff cover for a fancy one from B&M. We did some really cool lighting upgrades. We swapped out the halogen headlights for some retro looking but completely modern LEDs from Holley and installed period correct KC fog lights. Last year I did a one-day paint correction that led to beautiful results. That video is actually one of my personal favorites on the channel. I think it came out almost exactly 1 year ago. Beyond that, I've done tons of routine maintenance videos, oil changes, rear diff fluid changes, manual transmission fluid changes, and winterizing your truck. Speaking of routine maintenance, let me tell you guys why I use Havoline motor oil on my truck, and then we're gonna cover awesome projects yet to come. There's a bug on my head. My preferred oil of choice for the old Dodge is Havoline high mileage motor oil. It's a premium synthetic blend with deposit shield technology. It's specially designed for high mileage vehicles of any age. It includes additives that condition old seals and gaskets to help prevent leaks and oil consumption. They don't advertise this prominently, but my favorite detail is that Havoline high mileage has excellent zinc levels. Gearheads know that classic cars love zinc, and Havoline high mileage has zinc content close to other oils that cost $15 a quart. I especially like the unique 6-quart container that has less waste, is easily recyclable, and is often available at a low price. I'll have links in the description for more info on this oil, including charts on specific amounts of zinc and other features. Thanks Havoline for sponsoring this video. Let's talk future plans. Before the big exciting stuff, I do have some maintenance items that we are probably due for. For instance, brake fluid. While preparing for this video today, while detailing the truck, I found a couple swelling rubber hoses. One particular really short one that is, apparently it's a water pump bypass hose. That one looks really, really bad. So I've actually already ordered that one. So that is probably the next maintenance item to do on this truck. We'll probably tackle a couple other hoses while we're doing that. Also, the power steering fluid. I've checked it many times, but I've never done a power steering fluid flush on this truck ever, so I have no idea when that's been done last. We don't have any active leaks, but we do have some seeping in a couple places. I think the valve cover gaskets would probably be due to be replaced because I kind of see some of that in the engine bay. The other thing is the leaf springs. Last time I had the truck aligned when we did the front suspension, the shop did say, hey, your leaf springs are, still in spec and they still work, but they're getting a little long on the tooth and you might want to consider replacing those. So I think that'd be a fun video to do because when I load a bunch of soil into the back of this truck, it does kind of like to do this. So new leaf springs, we'll do that one. Those are cool and all, but there are two big projects that I would love to do on the Dodge, but they are first expensive, they are intimidating, and they are way out of my comfort zone and knowledge. So I might need your help. But first, let's talk about the first one. I would love to do a limited slip differential in the rear. This is a two-wheel drive truck, but it quickly becomes a one-wheel drive truck the moment I'm in some slippery gravel or the road is wet or if there's snow or ice and you just have that one tire fire, as people like to say. There are, of course, several options that we could go with. Dana Spicer I think was a factory option on this truck back in the day. That would be the cheapest option. We've also got other high quality options from Yukon, Nitro Gear, and Eaton. I do have some ins maybe at Nitro Gear or some people that work there. So hi people that I met when we did Chris's re-gear. What's up? Limited slip on this. Want to help me out? Who can say? Big project number 2, full freaking Hemi swap. I'm kidding about that. Well, I'm not kidding about it, but that's way out of my price range. Maybe like 300,000-400,000 subscriber Jason Explains Things YouTube channel could do that. But what I actually have here in my notes is an electronic fuel injection retrofit. The old Dodge is definitely a warm-blooded truck. Starts right up in the summer. In the winter, it can struggle a little bit to start. And also when it's below freezing, I have had a couple times where the engine dies on me. So that is, again, just to improve drivability, performance, fuel economy, that kind of thing. It would be cool to do electronic fuel injection. So there are two options that I've been researching kind of both at the same time. We've got the Holley EFI Sniper Kit and the Edelbrock ProFlow system. With both options, you swap out the carb for a throttle body. You also upgrade your fuel pump, distributor, and add an ECU with a small touchscreen interface to adjust the system. And from what I've read, both systems are pretty idiot-proof in terms of tuning them. Now, again, the truck runs great and doesn't need this, but it would be cool to improve the performance, fuel economy, that sort of thing, and just make this classic truck slightly more modern. Guys, you can help make some of these bigger projects happen faster. You already have by watching this video up to this point, which says a lot. I know all the YouTubers in the world say this, but the likes and the comments and the sharing and all that stuff so that this video has a chance to get out. Also, just tagging the companies that I've mentioned, that might help, or just giving me guidance. I've pitched like one of the parts in this video and something else would work better. Please tell me that because I need all the help I can get. Regardless of all that, more old Dodge videos are coming. You know, whether it be just going for a drive or doing some of that routine maintenance. I said, you know, not every video needs to be expensive and a huge project. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite old Dodge video has been to this point and what you're most excited to see in the future. A huge thank you to you guys who've been nicely nagging me to bring the old Dodge back. You know, these videos don't get a lot of attention, a lot of growth, but I know you love them. I love them too, and I make these videos for you. So until next time, my friends, God bless, and don't forget to do yourself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.